even if it's the best defense in the NFL, is one touchdown or less than that a game enough?
Yeah, I mean,
And
in fairness to Jimmy, as you text me, do they not teach toe dragging at tight end university?
Yeah, that was now as you text me, we're just reading. It's like this is like, Ayuk was open in the front of the end zone. The throw to Kittle that Kittle didn't get his toe down was an amazing throw. I mean, there was not a window, and he put the ball, but it was just made it harder than it needed to be. Although I think he started, his first read was Debo left, and then he came to Kittle middle and just didn't ever get to Ayuk, I guess. I don't know. I'm no JT O'Sullivan, but yeah, I mean, he's got 3 touchdowns in 3 games. He's got won a game.
Did you notice that, like, as before Kittle had his first catch, which was another one of Jimmy's best passes of the game, and Troy's like, watch this. He lets it rip before Kittle's out of his break.
Yeah.
But early on, there was like a buzz where they're like, are they ever going to target Kittle? And I could sense on the internet too, like, where's George? And then you realize these two fucking guys, even though George kind of pivoted on him for Trey, which is fair. I mean, he made the right long-term move, and then he's pivoted back. They have a pretty good connection. Like, those two guys connect pretty well. It feels like Debo and him make plays together because Debo jumps up and makes the catch. But Kittle, for whatever reason, he often hits in stride. Why don't they throw it to 85 a little more? And then
they were rotating one guard spot and replacing the other.
I would imagine if we did a little tape study early on in the game, George is helping a lot of people out at the line of scrimmage, would be my guess. So it's like
opened it up in the second half for him, John.
Well, part of like Kelsey's deal, and it's hard to compare the two. I don't think it's comparable as we just have to come to an agreement. Kelsey gets to just line up like Juwan Jennings and just be the slot wide receiver. But he's like, I'm a tight end, which kind of gets screwed because I end up making less money than if I was just a wide receiver, which I basically am. I'd make $25 million, but you only get to pay me 16. Kind of gets screwed. George does have to block a lot.
Yeah.
Did you notice on a couple of those runs, like he'd be like pulling like a guard up the hole? Like, geez, there's 85 leading, like running, and then Wilson would hit it. And I told you Wilson's got some quicks. I didn't say that actually, but I'm coming around.
Yeah, he's hit a couple home run plays now.
He looks better on non-rainy grass.
Looks better on non-rainy grass. Looks better when he's there's a hole for him to hit, and he just hits it right when he's got to try and dance a little bit, which is not typically what the Niners are looking for in their running backs. But I mean, as you saw today, like what we thought was a position of depth at running back is not. I mean, the only running back that carried the ball was Jeff Wilson Jr. Juszczyk got 1. Debo got 2 for 2 yards, by the way. Again, that part of the game didn't work, whatever. And Garoppolo had the 1 scramble for a first down. So, but yeah, I mean, when given the chance 5 yards down the field, Kelsey goes over a guy. We saw it on Sunday night. Kelsey leaps over a guy and Kittle takes him on. It's just that they are probably physically from a little different athletically too, right? Kelsey's a little springier. George is a little more brute force. And that's just what it is. So what? He's not Kelsey.
The one thing you know with George, I'd say Kelsey is a little more like quarterbackial, where he'll just go down. Like he's not trying to get into a heavyweight knockout show. He's like, I'm getting up and I'm going to play another down, and then I'm going to catch another 10-yard pass. And Kittle tackled at the legs, drags the guy for like an extra 2 as he's lowering his shoulder against it. It's like, George, this isn't 300. This isn't the shooting of 300. They need you. You're one of the best players on the field. You don't need to try to injure every player. Him and Debo just have this quality. Debo, when he gets a little grass, kind of realizes, like, I can get to the end zone. But if it's not there, there was the play. Was it a quick screen or it had to be a quick screen where he got close to the end zone and he just lowers his shoulder? I think Debo and Kittle, like Darren Waller, no tight ends play like this. I mean, those two guys play like it's fucking high school football, and I'm just going to destroy you because I'm going to Power 5 and you're going hopefully to some academic school because that's your only chance to be successful in life. I'm going to the pros. And that's how they treat the NFL. And Jalen does too, right? IU kind of gets into it. Like that game, Aaron Donald treats it like that. It kind of gets like, it does get chippy, which is
what you have to do to win championships, but you got to get there healthy to be able to finish.
Like ultimately, if the Rams flame out this year, their core guys will always say, "I'm a champion," right? Like you guys are still trying to get over that hump, and you guys are. I think we've all can acknowledge like they're championship level talents, competitors, and they can hang with the champions.
Yeah, championship level effort.
The problem is when they shoot to like Troy's or Joe's, let's go look at all the 49ers in the box that are injured. It's like that guy's a $25 million player. There's Trey Lance with a shattered ankle. Kinlaw hasn't even made it up there yet. It's like Jimmy Ward is probably getting his fucking soda in the other room. I mean, it's half their starter. There's Elijah Mitchell, their starting running back.
Yeah. If there's a fire drill and the elevators don't work, the quarterback can't get down from up there. He's got to take the elevator, right?
He'd be stuck. Well,
so
you'd say Trent could carry him, but you wouldn't want to put the pressure on the ankle, right?
Yeah. I mean, it could have used Trent on the goal line probably at the end of the third quarter. Would have liked Trent Williams then. Jimmy Garoppolo in the game, John, 16 of 27, 239, a touchdown, and no picks. I thought at one point at the half, he was right around 50%. He was 9 of 17 for 138. So he had about 101 yards passing in the second half. And Troy Aikman, at one point, they put Jimmy's numbers up on the screen, and he said, I think he's been a little better than his numbers. And I would tend to agree. Again, we're moving with the Jimmy scale here, but I see your face and I know what you're going to say, right? The missed throw to was it Warner or Dwelly? Warner early in the game.
Was Warner supposed to look over his left shoulder or right shoulder? It's hard to give Jimmy the benefit of the doubt on that.
Yeah, maybe. Like when you see from behind, from the end zone view, you can see that the defender is shaded to the inside, but it's not Steve Largent here going to turn. That's an old NFL Films reference. The miss to use check, right?
To me, the use check play, we're not in the meetings, but it's pretty clear. If they're going to send use check on a go route, either they've practiced in the during the week and said, hey, look for 44. It's going to be, that's the trick here. Our fullback running a go route and Kyle going like this and Jimmy not seeing him. The 49ers over the last couple years have to lead the league in wide fucking open Pro Bowlers, not just like, it's like their third wide receiver who was looking that way. I'm talking Ayuk, Debo, Juszczyk, Kittle on scheme plays, throwing up their arms at the quarterback, and the quarterback just looking at like a check down over here to the right and sometimes missing that check down. And the guy going like this. I mean, guy, this is like flag football. It's like the dude lost at sea, waving his arms at planes. That's what Kyle did. Did you see that? His arms were like this.
Yeah.
Now, luckily, he had some sweet plays, right? He had a sweet run. He had the sweet play down. But
use check, yeah.
You can't convince me that when that play is called, if they have repped that during the week, the play is like, hey, look at Kyle.
Look there. Yeah.
What would be the point of sending him on a go route for his health? I don't get it.
It's not a decoy. I mean,
the Niners don't hit those plays. That's why offense feels so hard for them sometimes, is the 5 or 6 plays that they have to be schemed during the week work. I mean, Cooper Kupp is making fucking plays like he's Jerry Rice out there in traffic, one-handed, off the ground. They're having to now they're hitting them, but it felt like, God, him and Stafford are having to work for these yards.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Kyle's like, Debo here, Kittle here. It's like Jimmy's looking over here. I don't think
that's a good point. Just as an aside, I don't think the Rams had that tonight, did they? Somebody just running wide ass open.
Cooper Kupp's making the most miraculous plays.
Well, they feel like
he's awesome.
They would be. A buddy of mine texted me during the game. He's like, they would be SOL without Cooper Kupp. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I think you're right. He had 14 for 122, 19 targets. I mean, Antonio Brownish, 19 targets.
Well, to me, what they'd be scary is like the Niners, Debo and Ayuk. Can you just imagine if they just had Ayuk on that team with them?
Yeah.
Just to balance it out. Like they have no.
Allen Robinson's not that guy.
But Cooper Kupp, does it really matter? I mean, he had 14 catches for 122. He's unstoppable.
No, yeah. I mean, Higbee did have 10 catches. It felt like every time it was just Higbee for like a quick 7 yards.
God, the two of those guys had 24 catches and like 200 yards.
Yeah.
I kind of like the Skaranek, the little white guy from Notre Dame.
Just how many times part of it is like you think you're covering Kupp, and then it turns out, surprise,
got you, Skaranek.
Only stat that matters for Jimmy is 0 interceptions.
Did he get close?
Yes.
Which play?
The well,
A
I mean, the Debo
no.
touchdown, but that's not really, wouldn't count that. I thought there was almost a pick six. No, you know what it was? I thought if he had thrown the ball to Ayuk on the goal line where Ayuk was open, initially I thought maybe Ramsey would have jumped that, but Ramsey wasn't in position. There was no real like batted ball, almost a pick. Ramsey got
his bad throws were just complete airmails. The one Jawan Jennings who looked pretty wide ass open.
Yeah.
You know, he's a weird player because tonight he felt much more comfortable than last week, but he still is like a pitcher that can just have a sweet strikeout, but can also have a pitch on, 3-2 that airmails the catcher. And I mean, the catcher leaps and the ball goes well over and hits the back net. It's like, how? Because everything looks good, looks normal in his drop, and the ball leaves his hand. And then your eyes kind of go and you're like, damn, the guy's open. Oh, and then you just pray there's not, a safety, but Eric Weddle or Taylor Rapp is not 15 yards behind him, which sometimes there is, and it hits him right in the stomach.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just hits green grass.
Yeah.
He airmails a lot of people though, guy.
Yes, he does.
Like really high.
Yes, he does.
Except Kittle, who he kind of hits in stride.
Well, I mean, flashback to the Seahawks game last year.
I mean, that Debo catch, I'm just watching. I have the ESPN.com box score up. And Ramsey's kind of all over the place. If that's Ramsey, he's a couple inches. That could be pick. Because the play that Ramsey batted down, he's just so long.
Yeah.
We picked him last year, remember? In the
Week only
18
his guy
game.
can catch it, John.
Ramsey
missed the tackle on that play.
I just think Jimmy at this point is kind of what he is. He's just a complete roller coaster ride, and you just get in the roller coaster, and the Niners really, really benefit. Here's what's pretty clear about Jimmy Garoppolo. He could, if he was on let's say you put him on like the Bears, like, two nobodies and Mooney, it could look pretty ugly. Like he does play with some pretty fucking sweet players.
He does.
Even Aikman's like,
That's
God,
why
I'm watching Ayuk. I love this guy.
That's why it works.
Yeah.
That's why it works. But I do think that the no picks was critical. Because you did, I started to wonder if Stafford would throw one. I think when the game started, I definitely thought the Niners had a turnover in them on defense because they kept going after the full. I thought they were going to actually rip the ball out once or twice. It turned out to be a Stafford pick. But, look, I don't know. We'd have to do a little research here. How many times has Matthew Stafford thrown 48 passes and not thrown an interception? If you told me coming into the game, Stafford was going to throw 50 times, basically, would he throw a pick? Yes or no? Wouldn't you bet yes?
The problem is if you say 50 passes, you'd probably say 2 or 3 touchdowns. Right?
100%, which is, we'll talk about the defense. They deserve their own separate podcast, really. But,
well, do you feel like Matt Stafford, I mean, the numbers, obviously he threw it a lot more, but similar yards, even though Jimmy's, I mean, a lot of those are the Debo 57-yard play. Do you feel like Jimmy was better than Matt Stafford? Because I feel like you watch it, you go, Matt Stafford's a better player, but the one play is a crippling play. Jimmy didn't make it, so you might got to give Jimmy the nod, right?
I'd say that the Rams went into the red zone a lot and didn't score, and part of that was Stafford did miss. Now the Niners defense was phenomenal, but Stafford did miss some critical throws for them, right? And he almost threw the interception to Lenore in the end zone. As somebody said, he should have had 4 picks. I thought Stafford did not look great. Now I do think the Niners defense deserves a ton of credit for that.
I mean, the D-line is kicking his offensive line's ass.
In the corner. I mean, the whole thing is just
ass. I mean, they were in Matt Stafford's ass. 4 sacks in the first half, and it felt like it could have been 8. They were
11 hurries tonight or something like that.
How about the one where Nick gets him? He just released the ball, and Nick shoves him to the ground, and you could tell that hurt. Like he kind of shook it off. He gets peppered, especially by this team. Where Jimmy. The one play where,
0 sacks for Garoppolo.
99 went untouched. Jimmy flew, but he did get rid of the ball. That was quick. I was like, oh, shit. Other than that, it felt like Jimmy did have the one where he scrambled. I don't know if it was actually that close to being a pick. In real time, it looked closer than it actually was in slow motion. Where he kind of scrambles out, throws it, I think, to Warner, and the DB kind of comes late, but the ball was low. Like no one could have caught it.
Yeah.
Jimmy, when you scramble, I would say throw away, run away, no throwing down the field.